In this video, traders, we're going to look at which market trends better. Stay tuned. Hey guys, a very warm welcome to you. Right, this is a real common question. This is something that people are thinking about, they're asking, they're discussing, which market actually trends better? And this was specifically a question from a viewer, from a subscriber, Ashwin Gami. Thank you very much for your question, much appreciated. I hope you are a subscriber. Please make a detailed video, which market is more trendy or trends better? Crypto, Forex or stocks? Please make a video. Thanks, love from India. So shout out to all the subscribers and viewers in India. I know there's a big trading community over there. It's definitely a place that I want to visit at some point in the future, but let's stick that down there and let's address this question. It's a great question, and like I say, something that's very common. I've added some few more into it. I know specifically it was asked Forex, crypto or stocks. I've added a few more into it because ultimately, guys, you know, if we're trying to trade any instrument, it doesn't matter. It's just numbers, it's just price. But if we're trying to identify a trending environment, so why might you first of all want to identify a trending environment? Well, this trader may well be like, okay, you know what, I've got to set up some strategies that are working well in trending environments. I want to be able to hold something that is running for multiple days, multiple weeks, multiple months. And in a nice trending environment, that means I'm going to, if I get on the end of a trend, I'm going to profit more. If you're in a choppy environment, you're going to find that you've got profits undone the next couple of weeks, got profits undone the next couple of weeks. You're going to have that emotional roller coaster. You're trying to get on a trend. It doesn't happen. Very challenging in a swinging environment. So identifying which basket of instruments is the best or is the most trending will help you be able to execute that strategy far more effectively. Okay, so this is my opinion, and this is just currently looking at the markets. Now, it's worth pointing out that trends kind of do tend to shift in a cyclical nature. You know, one day you'll get a Forex pair that's really, really trending. The other day you'll get a stock that's trending. However, in my experience, I find that very often stocks have a very good trend. Why is, not all of them, obviously, some of them are choppy, but you can find stocks with a trend that tends to be going for quite a long period of time. Why is that? Well, it's a valuation of a company. When you compare that to, say, a Forex pair, which is one currency against another, you're buying one currency and selling another, it's a different kind of thing you're speculating on. So if a company is doing well, it's growing steadily, very often the trend will continue for years and years and years and years. And guys, there's multiple examples of that with just some of the big stocks. You know, if they're doing well, if they're gaining market share, if their earnings are doing well, if they're growing, if everything's good, then that stock will trend up and up and up and up. Yes, there'll be blips and stuff, but it will trend up and up and up, you know, for a long period of time. So that's one thing, guys. I really think that stocks, if you get on the right stock, you know, people can hold those and make good money on those. The next thing I want to point out is commodities. So commodities very often have super long cycles. Now this is slightly different now in this era because the trends aren't quite as pronounced. However, if you look at, say, a sugar chart, you know, the trend has been the same and same for years and years and years and years and years. So some of these softer commodities tend to be trending a long period of time. Now I recognize these aren't quite as exciting to trade, they're a little more expensive to trade, but sometimes commodities can really trend. When the supply and demand curve is really, supply and demand balance is really shifting in one direction, you're going to get a big trend. So those are those two. Now the question was Forex and crypto. Crypto, for me, is very, very vulnerable to news because it's less mature market. And I know that Bitcoin guys are going to be like, I don't know, it's mature. But listen, in the context of all the others, it's a very new market. And so the participants aren't going to be as wide and as broad. And yes, you do get these trends, and we have, of course, had these really strong trends in crypto. But at the moment, it seems to be very much what's going to happen. It's very much of a nervous trend. You know, it's my opinion as well. I just see this in Bitcoin at the moment. It kind of spikes up a bit, then it gives it all back and goes down. It kind of oscillates around levels, almost like it's throwing people in and out of the trade. And I can find that to be very frustrating if you're trying to get on of a trend. You know, the trend is also the trend with crypto was very like jerky, like it wasn't a chug. To me, the best trend is when you're in and it just chugs. There's a little bit a day, maybe sits there, there's a little bit a day. Nice, trending, no stress environment if that's what you're after. Crypto, yes, it was trending, but it was ripping up, it was ripping back, and it was ripping up and ripping back. So your emotions were swinging back and forth. That's great for kind of shorter term trading, but for buy and hold, it really stretches you. So I'm a bit cautious about crypto because the volatility of crypto makes it not a great trending vehicle. Forex. Now, if you're picking some of the major pairs, they're not trending at all. Yes, they may well be kind of slowly trending, but they're so shallow, the trend, that it's so choppy. Again, it becomes almost like a volatile environment where you've got to sit through ranges, even though ultimately it's dripping lower. However, if you pick the right pair, and there are pairs out there, then the trend is very, very definite. And it's all about doing your homework and sifting through and looking for the trend. Looking for something that's got a definitive trend on it, because that makes your life easier. If you've got something that's in a trending environment, then great. So the major pairs generally, sometimes they are, but at the moment they're not. They're chopping around, even though they're drifting lower, and you can see on the headlines pound going to lows. It's a choppy grind lower. It's not a clean drift. Whereas you look at AUD, for example, at the moment when I'm filming this, super strong trend, multiple days of movement in one direction, just plod. So it's about picking the right instrument, I think, with Forex, not just going with the headline crowd. So talk about stocks and indices, they're great for trending. I think you've got to be in the right conditions. At the moment in filming it, we've got a lot of news that's driving indices. So even though it's very challenging, you've got Fed, you've got trade war, you've got this, you've got that. When a market is driven by different elements of news that are impacting the valuation so much, the trends aren't going to happen. You know, it's when there's an underlying force on it. It's like a commodity, an underlying demand for something, or underlying oversupply of something, or bond, when there's an underlying pressure to go to a safe haven, or whatever it may be. When there's that underlying thing that's not really changing, that's when you get the trends. And that might be with some of the Forex pairs. Like one country might be an underlying pressure on the interest rates versus another, so you get that trend. Whereas when you get two things that are pushing and pulling, Fed are going to cut, Fed are not going to cut, trade war, not trade war, you get these kind of 4 or 5 day volatilities that backs off, and it's very difficult for trending. However, if you cycle back, last thing guys, if you cycle back multiple years and you see that grinding bull market we had, then it's perfect, because there was no other news driving things other than we're recovering from the recession. The economy's good, the economy's improving, slowly improving every quarter, and so you didn't have those extreme moves, you just had that chug up. So it's about finding that story. The story has got to be a consistent story that's not affecting price too much. It's just a solid underlying pressure on the market in one direction or another. Not much outside influence is affecting that. If you find that, then you can find those. And at the moment, I don't think crypto is the best one for a chug trend. Yes, there's volatility there, great for trading, fantastic. Forex, you've got to find the right pair. Stocks, you've got to find the right stocks. Bonds, I don't trade bonds much, so I can't comment too much. I just know, obviously, with the current trend at the moment, a lot of pressure. And commodities as well, again, picking the right one. So I hope that answers which market trends better. I couldn't give you a definitive thing, but I think if you approach it with that and look and just scan through and say, hey, what's the environment? And we find it. If you can find the right environment, at least you've got a head start. You've got a head start, and if you've got a trending strategy, you can implement that strategy into that environment and go, well, they happen to be trending at the moment, I'll use my trending strategy. All right, guys, take care and appreciate the question. Thanks, bye-bye.